All right. Kevin, did you do the pledge? I'm so sorry. The pledge. Okay, right. Yeah, it's time. Okay, I'll call to meeting, call to order the meeting of the Town of Unicorn BMA for this Monday, June 19th, 2023. Invocation will be delivered by the Reverend Mike Penner, and then following that, please, I would not convert if you would lead us in the pledge.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for inviting me to do this tonight. The words we use are really important, when we come together. The other night I was coming back from Asheville, North Carolina, and I'm just listening to the radio, running with the traffic. And suddenly my rearview mirror is just full of blue lights. So I pulled over. This nice state trooper comes up to my passenger window and he leans in and he said, "Sir, do you know how fast you were going?" I said, "Isn't that what you're supposed to know that?" I said, "Isn't this why we're meeting?" Well, apparently you can be fined $15 extra for rhetorical questions. So anyway, the words are really important, but I just thought you're supposed to know. So let's pray together. Father, thank you for the high and wonderful privilege of living in this area. Thank you for the beauty that surrounds us. Thank you, Lord, for the decency and the goodness and the godliness that is so powerful within the people who live here. Thank you, Lord, for those who have decided to take the reins of leadership and to bear the responsibility of governance in our community. We pray this evening that you would watch over them and guide and direct them with wisdom from on high. Watch over and be with those who've come here to raise issues or to ask questions. We pray, Lord, at the end of this meeting that you would bear everyone in this room home safely and reunite them with their friends, their families. And all of this we ask in the name of Christ our Lord, who is the Messiah of Israel and the Lord of all. Amen.
Thank you.
I'm going to have a pledge tonight. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, roll call, Ms. Kessler.
Alderman Lemon,
Here.
Alderman Hart,
Yes.
Alderman Randall, here, Alderman Chisholm,
Here.
Mayor Wall.
Here. Okay, if there's anyone in the audience that would like to fill out a request to speak, those cards are available up here at the table where there's Laura hanging on out looking at it right now. So if anybody would like one of those, feel free to grab one and fill it out. All right, were there any previously submitted citizen comments? Okay. If there are no further citizen comments, we're going to move on to old business. Oh, I'm so sorry. I've already done this before. In your package, you will find a set of minutes from the May 15th meeting. I'm going to assume that you've had time to look over those. I need a motion and a second for approval.
Motion for approval.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the minutes from the previous meeting? Hearing none. Ms. Kessler, I'll vote for
Alderman Lemon. Yes. Alderman McIntyre.
Yes.
Alderman Radford. Yes. Vice Mayor Cooper.
Yes.
Mayor Wall.
yes. Okay, now one more option, citizens wanting to speak. There is none. Okay, we're going to move on to old business, which will be the second reading and public hearing of ordinance 2023-315, an ordinance of the Town of Unicoi, Tennessee, adopting the annual budget for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2023 and ending June 30, 2024. This ordinance requires a public hearing, so I will adjourn the BMA and will open the public hearing. Is there any citizen who would like to speak regarding the budget ordinance that is up for approval tonight? Hearing none, I will close the public hearing and reopen the BMA meeting. Alderman, if we have a motion and a second. Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the budget as it's been presented for second reading?
We had $2,000 for the man's storehouse, and they're going to shut that down, so do we still need that in the budget?
I didn't know they were closing.
Yes, they're closing.
Okay.
Can we not leave it in the
We
budget
can
and
leave it in there.
redistribute?
Yeah.
Redistribute.
We'll have it to work with for something like this, just in case. Now, where Daddy's going to retire, do we still need to leave that salary in the budget?
Well, if we replace Danny, yes. It may not be as high as what Danny's salary is,
Okay.
but that can be.
And that may sound dumb, but I just, as a question on my mind.
Right.
It will be adjusted to the appropriate salary and then directed with whoever is higher in that spot. It won't necessarily be that amount. Okay? All right. good question.
I've got a question. I've done hit Debbie with it. Last meeting, we approved automated social media archiving services, 4688. But we need to put that in the budget.
We're gonna do a line item move to cover that, because that was done, I think, at the last, we did not change the budget for that.
So you're gonna do it the next meeting?
But a line item move,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, because I think she's gonna be doing that in July.
So we'll do that next meeting, right?
Well, it doesn't have to come before the board, because it doesn't change the budget. Well, she's gonna be changing two line items, one being advertising and the other the facade grant. Those will be adjusted to cover that. To cover the archive, social, that.
But don't we usually do amendments of line items?
Not before the board, no, because we're not changing the total budget. We're moving money around.
You're moving money around. Okay. Very
And then one other thing too, is, you know, we worked on this budget, and I guess it's good to go. But one thing we need to keep in mind too, is our police department. Yeah, I've had a lot of people comment on that, you know, and of course it costs a lot of money to do anything, but that was started 4 years ago and started with $65,000, which that may have been in the middle of the year, you know. But I think the first full year was about $110,000. So I just want to bring that up, you know, that we have that as the increase. So that's just, I've had a lot of feedback about it, so I just want to bring it to everybody's attention that, you know, so.
Okay. Good comments, good questions. Any other comments or questions or discussion? All right, Ms. Kessler, we'll vote, please.
Alderman Lemon,
Yes.
Alderman McCarthy,
Yes.
Alderman Radford,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cooper,
Yes.
Mayor Wolf.
Yes. Okay, unfinished business, none, new business. And, my, A, B, under 10, A, B, C, and D are all related. And it required 4 different pieces, of documentation. This was a matter of, making clear, how we want to handle, certain things. I don't know if, Mr. Cole would like to comment on what this all required. It required 4 different pieces of documentation to deal with surplus.
It's
And-
3, it's a
Yeah.
resolution, and then another resolution for the boards, and then a form to,
Oh, I'm sorry,
fill out
I see,
for the-
maybe I see. So this is gonna document for the town that our policy, which is A, our policy for the sale or disposal of property that is determined to be surplus, it will clearly state what our intention is. And our intention will be, it's very detailed in here, that anything of any value whatsoever will be auctioned, and one of our primary auction, I don't have a better word, thoroughfares will be gov deals, right?
And to kind of let the board know, typically, surplus is present within a charter of the municipality. But in this case, there's nothing in the charter, therefore, there needs to be a resolution or something to facilitate the surplus property
And now the town will have it.
and the disposal of it.
Okay, so that first resolution, 2023-351, is the policy. And I'm gonna go ahead and comment on B. That resolution declares certain property owned by the town to be surplus to the town's needs and directing disposal. So that was a policy. This is a resolution. And then following the resolution is a form to be completed for any item that is determined to be surplus. So there's a policy, there's a resolution, and there's a form to be filled out once an item is determined to be surplus. So they all 3 go hand in hand. They have been in your packets, so what was emailed out, would it not be appropriate to take all 3 at the same time? I would like to suggest that we take all 3 at the same time, since they're all intertwined and related, A, B, and C. If there is anyone that would be interested in making a motion in a second, we can discuss further.
Make a motion.
I'll say,
We have a motion and a second. Okay, let's open up for any sort of discussion. If there is any. And as Mr. Cole said, oftentimes it is included in the charter, how surplus materials will be dealt with, how they'll be handled, how they'll be disposed of. Our charter did not have that included. So that was where the need came in, that we add these additional documents into our policy procedures, resolutions, practices.
And we did involve impasse in this. Some of this was their sample documentation.
Is there any further discussion related to these documents? Ms. Casper, call for vote, please.
Alderman Lehman.
Yes.
Alderman McIntyre.
Yes.
Alderman Bradford. Yes. Vice Mayor Cooper.
Yes.
Mayor Wolf.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Now that takes us down to new business B, which is discussion and consideration to approve property transfer between the state, United States, and the county municipal law enforcement agency to accept excess property equipment from the Department of Defense. This is referred to as that BMRO, I can't remember what this letter stands for. The,
Yeah, so 1033 program that the government, formed to give surplus to law enforcement agencies.
okay. And that is something that you have assisted the county employee in establishing that process, and I think it has served us well so far. So, it is something we would like to continue to do. We have obtained a number of vehicles, a trailer, a box trailer, and these are free except for the expense to go pick up. It does take gas to go pick up, but once they come back to us and they are in our possession for 1 year and we have used them for that year, we can dispose of them as any surplus material like we just talked about in the previous action we took. So I think these are valuable. I think we've already gotten a couple of trailers. We definitely used one of them at the end of Strawberry Festival, where we load everything in one box trailer in the rain. It was very helpful. So we've already been able to maximize some of what we obtained. So it's been a good thing for the town. And it sure beats the heck out of buying something at market value somewhere. So is there a motion and a second?
You have a list in your.
Of what we, purchase so far. Or not purchase, but we
Now,
have,
where they pick this equipment up at?
a lot of it's been Norfolk.
Military bases were, different units turning into military bases. Each military base, like North Carolina, Bragg is the central distribution point. For Kentucky, it goes to, Fort Campbell. And Norfolk was where we picked up the truck. They shut down a couple of other places that they distribute. It goes to separate bases, and what it goes on the computer. And you go on the computer, and at each base, you see what they have available. You put in a request for it, that goes to a state coordinator. State coordinator has to determine whether you need it, usually the department or not. They pass it on to the regional coordinator, which passes on to the final coordinator in Battle Creek, Michigan. And then at that point, they say, okay, yes, that department can use that, use the law enforcement, we'll award it to them. And then at that point, they give you 10, 14 days to pick it up.
How much usually does it cost to bring the equipment back?
Fuel, is my expense.
So you're always getting something that's worth going to get?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, pickup truck was brought back a couple of weeks ago, in 2006, 3,500 dually. It does need, some fuel to work with it, sitting. And right now, if you put that on bill, bills to sell, it's about $20,000. And probably time it's fixed, painted, and used for a year, the city should not have no more than about 4,000. Okay, plus a year's usage. And it may be a vehicle that can be used for multiple years. You know.
It's like every program, you have to watch, you know, not go get it on your head, but, yeah, I'll make a motion on that.
Okay, motion, and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Kessler, call for the vote, please.
Alderman Loon.
Yes.
Alderman McIntosh.
Yes.
Alderman Radford. Yes. Vice Mayor Cooper.
Yes.
Mayor Gordon.
Yes. Okay, next on the agenda is an interlocal agreement between the County of Union, Tennessee and Union County, Tennessee concerning provision of street maintenance services by the county through its highway department for the roads in the County of Union, Tennessee. As we arrived for this meeting, we did not have anything submitted from the highway department. It was submitted to us while we proceeded here at the table. So I know that no alderman has had any opportunity to, look over any of this in detail. I don't know if, I'm just gonna throw it out there, I don't know if the board is gonna feel prepared to want to make a decision on this, or if, there might be a desire to,
You're not speaking before you make a decision.
what you say.
Well, we should look over it once you kind of have time to look into it.
Yeah.
Is that okay, Terry? I mean,
Can I make,
yeah, go ahead.
there's some issues in that lease agreement that we're not gonna like. There's been some stuff taken out of it. Our objective is to not leave city of Union no, and we'll continue to maintain the main roads. Winter time, which are in summertime, require you paving as you need it. From there, we ask you to be responsible for ditch cleaning, brush, and there's been some issues stated that I'd like my secretary to read, if she will, on the thing we were actually accused of double dipping.
Okay, now Terry, what three things was the ditches and what else?
No, we will take care of the main roads.
Okay,
We'll take care of your bush hogging and your snow removal on the main roads, just as we have. Tony and Danny always took the side roads and
okay.
but we were, had an accusation made that we were actually probably stealing money from you people back here.
That you were doing what now?
Taking money, we were taking yours money, you know. Double deal.
Okay, now what things did you say you wasn't gonna do? The ditches and what
We'll
else?
not do the ditches, we'll not clean the ditches, we'll not get you brush. We'll do the issue, we talked about the bridge, whatever that bridge is.
Yes, sir.
Now, I promise you, we'll take care of that, and we're doing it. Finished up on Springbrook today, except just go dry seed and paving. That project's done. But I feel like, you know, what's been said and done, and we have to charge fee to maintain it, and she's got it there, she's got the issue from Tina, so she can leave out what they
So the
stated it does.
Tennessee Comptroller's Office requires that we do charge, in the packet that I handed you, it's called a force account labor sheet. And our employees, whenever they're out here, obviously they make an hourly wage. Our employees are also provided with health care and retirement. And FEMA requires through the state of Tennessee, by the Tennessee Comptroller's Office, that we do, it's called a benefit rate. And over the past years, obviously I'm new in this position, I've been here, it'll be here in September. And so when I was questioned, I went digging myself just to figure out, you know, why we did that charge, because I needed to know as well, because I was new here. So I contacted the comptroller's office, and they stated it was because that is the recommendation because of the benefit rate to cover those back costs that you all don't see on our employees. So we do not charge any type of rate on the equipment, it's just the employee's salary. And previous years, I believe Patty had last updated Patty Treadway in 2019. And now they had came out with a new fee schedule for that equipment and the labor in 2021 that FEMA has required that we go to. So the old percentage was at 35% upcharge on the employee's salary rates. That is now at 53.30. I provided in there a chart where the old charge was plus the new. It comes out to a few dollars plus $2 or $3 per employee that is higher now. And on the equipment charge sheet, it's also got the prices for 2019, 2021. Some of them have went down per the equipment charge, some of them have went up, like a little higher. Nothing major. I think it was an increase of overall $185.57 for the equipment. But I just, in being questioned that, and I was learning myself on why we did the upcharge. And the comptroller's office does mandate that through the whole entire state of Tennessee, that those benefit rates do have that percentage in order to cover those back costs that they provide for all employees through Tennessee. So that is why there's that extra charge. Obviously, that is not just for you all. That's if the town of Irwin had us work, we charge them that. If any outside entity requires us to come or ask us to do work, that charge is one on each employee, unless you are in the county of Unicoi. We don't work off of any type of property tax. We only work on gas taxes. That's the only revenue we get. So I know people pay property tax, but we don't see that. We only see gas tax. So that's another reason that benefit rate's in there, just to help us pay that cost on those employees.
So when I grumble about the property tax, you don't
We
get
don't,
any
we
of that.
don't get a
in.
dime. We don't get a
And see,
dime.
stuff like that, if you don't know,
Exactly.
you don't
Yeah.
understand.
And I didn't either. It was my first
Yeah.
year, so it's been very educational for me as myself, because I've went to meetings, now I've been to classes, I've asked the questions that I have been asked myself, that I want to provide accurate answers to people on why we're charging what we charge. So yeah, we never see any dime off of property tax. The highway department works strictly off of gas tax.
Yeah.
So, you know, you go to North Carolina, get your tax, or gas, or Greenville, or Johnson City, that's money out of the highway department that we don't get. And it significantly has went down this year. I mean, close to $8 grand less than, you know, what they've got years in the past, just because people are going elsewhere for gas. So that's all we get on our budget to work with, is that revenue from the gas tax.
So when somebody says that Terry Haynes is taking all the property tax,
No,
No.
not a
you're just
dime,
not getting it.
not a dime.
Okay.
Sometimes they'll give us, they'll give us a penny, or 2 cents or 3 cents, but if it pops up they need it, you know where they come.
We got 65 cents on this year's.
And see, Les, we're told that. I mean, I wouldn't know.
Right.
You know,
But you know what really got me, when I go in and see her crying because we got a phone call, we were accused of double dipping and stealing. I don't go for that crap. I don't like it, I won't live with it, I won't put up with it. All I gotta do, according to that agreement, say I'm through with the city of Unicoi and give you a 60-day notice to you're on your own. So, I don't wanna hear it no more. If it ever pops up again, that's what it's gonna be. It's not right. We do like come in here and cover the night, and nobody else don't, by myself. Many of the night.
well, Terry too, I mean, I appreciate the fact that you come up here and tell us what's on your
Yeah,
mind.
but I mean, you know, it's, you know, it don't, it just aggravating. I've been at this 24, 30 some years. You know, it seems like out here, it's a little bit worse, a little bit worse. You're gonna have to hire help. You're gonna have to hire more employees. You're gonna have to get some equipment in. Seems like Jimmy's got you on the right road. You know, this army stuff. You know, backhoes and dump trucks and stuff like that. I mean, you're gonna have to hire help out here. 1 man, 2 men can't do this. You've got, what, 65 miles of city roads? 2 men, that's a joke.
So if anybody asks me, it's safe to say you don't work on property.
No, only
Okay.
gas tax.
And
And I mean, it's public record, they can ask for our budget, I mean, it shows what our revenue is.
I ask for it every year. Believe me, I ask for property tax.
We beg for stuff, and we could get state aid, but when that state aid, they tell us what that's used for. We have no, you know, we don't have an option. They tell us what bridge, what road. So we can't distribute that how we feel is necessary for the needs, because they're telling us this is a list, you have to do these line items first. So even though we do get that state aid, that's not up to us what we can use that on. So we're limited on what we can use on that part, but anything that comes in revenue is only as tax. So we, I can budget on that, and this year, obviously, it was come up short. So luckily, we had enough where I can move around in order to cover the whole
That's the
budget.
reason last week, 95 counties in the state of Tennessee was national lobbying against electric vehicles. So you just imagine if everybody buys electric vehicles, what the highway system.
That don't go until effect till next year, but we would actually get a percentage of electric vehicles, and it's only like 200 per vehicle, which I think the county of Unicorn has like 6 registered. So I mean, it's not a ton, but when you think of the people that are passing using that, they're only paying it per tag, and we don't get any type of revenue off them plugging it up and.
Okay, so now I know what to do.
Valerie, that's the best explanation I've heard of how everything works. I appreciate you sharing.
Not a problem, thank you. And we would have got that to you sooner, but the lawyer just signed off on it.
So you're not gonna do the ditches or the brush?
Right.
Okay,
And the signage, no, we're not gonna do no signage. We're not gonna pick up no dead animals. That's out of the question anymore.
no ditches, brush.
It wouldn't be so bad if they let them lay there all weekend and then they're calling on Monday and say, I got a dead deer. And put my house.
And no signs and no animals. So then that way we know what to
You
expect.
gotta get that package.
Okay,
But yes, look over it before you sign it and get back to us. Okay?
okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
All right, is there a motion of how the board thinks it's best to move forward with
Is there
this?
something in here to sign?
I give Mayor Boland the actual agreement copy.
Okay,
I just gave everybody else just the
okay.
rating and she has a copy of that.
But it's okay to take enough time to.
Yeah,
To
yeah,
look
they're
at it.
completely fine.
Okay.
You're good till 12 o'clock tonight.
I'll make a motion, we postpone this until the July meeting.
Yeah, we don't, you only got one copy of it, right? The agreement.
No, everybody got this one.
That's it?
No, we can
Here's
use
what gets signed, but this is the explanation for
Yeah,
everything.
but the actual agreement, yeah.
Here's the cost schedule.
Let's postpone it, so we'll make a motion, we postpone.
I've made a motion that we do that.
Second.
Second.
Third.
And I'll be available for any questions when you're reading it. If you have
Thank you.
something, just give me a call.
Okay, any discussion on the motion to postpone this to the July meeting? None at all, Ms. Kester, vote please.
Alderman Raymond.
Yes.
Alderman Raymond.
Yes.
Alderman Radford. Yes. Councilor Cooper.
Yes.
Mayor Boland.
Yes. Okay, thank y'all for coming and bringing that information. All right, next on the agenda, resolution 2023-352, discussion and consideration of a resolution of the county of Unicorn, Tennessee to accept a violent crime intervention fund grant from the state of Tennessee to provide funds for the hiring of a full-time police officer in the amount of $35,864. This was submitted a good bit ago. We were notified that we were going to receive. We weren't sure exactly how much. Notification has come. So I think when we did work on our budget, did we include this amount in?
We did, but we didn't know what amount.
Exactly. But I think we had a pretty good estimate of how much it was gonna be. So, if you look at the information in there, it's $35,864, and it specifically will be applied to, I've lost my page, anyway, applied to salary of a police officer.
Okay, because the new officer we're getting, that'll go for. Okay.
That's for 1 year, isn't it? Or 11, I think it's 11 months and so many days. It's a thousand hours. I think it's 11 months and a few days when they would expire.
Okay, yeah. I know it very clearly says that's where the money goes. All right, is there a motion, a second, to accept this grant for the county of Unicorn Police Department?
Motion.
Second. Any further discussion?
Well, reading through that whole big thing, it says the town will be responsible for getting vehicles, equipment, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That would come out of the, amount that we basically $30-some thousand for the second, correct?
Yeah, you can use it for either. I think we're using it for salary.
But we've already budgeted 38,000 for the
We
second.
also budgeted for the grant revenue as well.
Right,
We
right,
didn't know what amount it would
Right.
be until we got the paperwork.
right. I guess I'm asking, if we put the two together, we'll have enough to cover all the things he needs, right?
Put the two together.
The original budgeted amount.
Yeah.
Aside from the grant and then the grant money. but
No,
as well.
that was the grant money.
That was a grant money.
That was the grant money.
Budgeted for the salary.
For the
We
salary.
didn't know what the amount would be, but we went ahead and budgeted because we wanted to put that officer.
Okay, we need to be sure we put that in minutes as such. Hold that up here.
Clarify that, I'm not sure what you were intending with what you just said. Will you say
See,
that again?
You know, we don't have, in the budget, it just says 38,000 some dollars. No explanation.
But she's
For the
explained it now.
full-time officer, is that what you're
Yeah.
talking about? It's
Yes.
38,200.
Yes,
But the grant wasn't that much, but we had already budgeted in the grant line item for that
right.
salary.
We just need to be clear in the minutes on it. That makes sense?
The $35,000 is going towards salary.
Yes,
Right,
yes.
right.
And that's, okay, that's what this document
Yes.
says. Okay. And it says it right here in what the resolution is. Okay. We have a motion and a second already. Any further discussion? Ms. Kessler, call for vote, please.
Alderman Rivers,
Yes,
Alderman McIntyre,
Yes.
Alderman Radford,
yes.
Vice Chair Cooper,
Yes,
Mayor Fuller.
Yes. All right, reports on officers and committees. Ms. Laura, I'm assuming you might have something for economic development.
Yes. So, economic development was what updated us, that they have hired an intern to help with data collection, mainly getting all the information on businesses that an economic development organization should have. Second, the Second Street, there is a party interested, that has delayed their decision by 6 months. That's the Second Street property in Irwin. Thirdly, they are working on getting a hotel feasibility study. And fourth, the CSX building, we need a title search and completed survey to move to the next step of negotiations. And that is all I was saying.
Okay, all right, thank you. I guess Christine Melton goes to Buffalo Valley Historic Society.
We had our regular meeting last week, and we had 11 people there. And we're still doing the reading at the cabin. It's on the first and third Thursday, Monday and Thursday. And we're keeping the little book thing stocked. People are using them, which is a good thing. And when we finish with the last reading in July, usually thereafter will be a nice social ambassador party.
Ooh, okay. And I think, depending on whether you go in there, we'll all be on that one. Okay, good, all right, thank you. All right, planning commission.
Okay, this is the Board of Zoning Appeals met on June 5th, 2023. The board approved the May 1st, 2023 DCA meetings after a correction was made due to an error in the verbiage of the minutes. Under new business was consideration and approval for an extension on a temporary use permit requested by Warren and Andrea Platt to live in their RV while completing work on their home. The property is located at 200 Shepherd's Branch Court. This is the third request. There was no work being done on the property and no one living in the RV. They are now living out of town at this time. The board voted unanimously not to approve the extension and to send a registered letter giving them 10 business days to remove the RV. The board voted to amend the agenda to add 2 more building permits. The first one was location 2943 Zane Whitson Drive. Property owners Timothy and Jennifer Shelton. The request was for a new accessory structure to replace the existing structure that is 20 years old. The board voted unanimously to approve the structure with 4 feet 4-foot variance in back and 2-foot variance on the left side. The last one was 150 Fox Chase Lane, property owners Nathan and Samantha Persky, and they wanted a movable utility shed. The board voted unanimously not to approve because the utility shed is not allowed in front of the lot. Other business, we have new recommendations for meeting of municipal governing bodies. We do not have on the agenda the opportunity for citizens not on the agenda to address the BZA board. It needs to be added to before the adjournment. The planning commission already has this on their agenda. And there was no planning commission meeting on June 5th, 2023 due to lack of agenda.
Thank you.
On the record, when is those 10 days up?
Those 10 days are, I'm not sure exactly the time, but we've been in conversation with Ms. Flax, and she says that she's got a place to put her RV on July the 5th. She wants to come back before the board again, because she said she felt like that she couldn't be there in June. She wanted to come to July's meeting, and it'll be on the 3rd. And she said if she's got a place she can put her RV till the 5th. And I told her, I said, well, I will talk to the mayor and I'll talk to the attorney on that. And so we did. She can put it back on the attorney's told her that she can put it back on the agenda, but she has the right to do that. So we will hear it again on the 5th. On the 3rd, and then on the 5th. So that wouldn't be that many days, because I think it's on the 12th. I think she told me that she had received it on the 12th. So you get the business day, and you'll have 4th of July. So that's what.
Well, I just noticed coming over, it's still there and that's going on.
Yeah, well, the days.
I'm gonna take a picture right now.
And the 10 business days are not up yet. And when she received it, he had to write it when she had to receive it. Okay.
What is our inspector saying about all that? Has he gone in and looked at what they've
I
done
don't
so
know,
far?
has he said anything good on
He
it?
hadn't really had anything to inspect.
No.
Still made progress.
She said she had some pictures that they'd done some work and she went, and I said, well, she said, I said, well, you can bring, whatever you want to present to the board, you just bring forward to the board, and the board will make a decision, on the 3rd.
Planning commission will be scheduled for Monday, July 3rd. That will be a regular work day. And then the 4th is the holiday. Okay, just want to make sure we wouldn't be adjusting that meeting for another date. Okay. Because if we were,
Yeah, that would make it.
she would feel sabotaged if we didn't get her
Yeah, we,
an update. Okay, that's all right. Just right. All right, thank you. Thank you. All right, Mountain Harvest Kitchen, you can see Brandon's report in here. He has got a total revenue for year 6, and it is down by a little less than half, a little more than half. And I think a lot of that is going to have to do with the fact that our long-term renter left, our pit clean has left. But we're still doing okay with that, and you can see what the billing was on the next page. So the kitchen is maintaining. There's still things in the works, I think, for the kitchen. We haven't got our feet good on the ground with some of it, but still working. All right, parks, directors, and public relations.
So we are doing that for Freedom Fest, that's gonna be on July 4th at the elementary school. Our fireworks and musical performances are all lined up, and, with the construction of the school, that has taken away some parking, so we're gonna be offering parking off-site and shuttle, to the festival grounds. That parking will be in, the field across from Walmart on the other side of the state. And then we will be borrowing a bus from the school system to shuttle people to the grounds. We'll be hosting the back to school blowout with the Buffalo Valley Historic Association Ice Cream Social. So that'll be a joint event, and that's on July 29th, from 4 to 7. We'll be doing a community yard sale, that will be on September 9th from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. We'll be here at the visitor center We'll have about 20 spaces available, for $10 booth fee. Haven't really advertised that just yet, waiting a little bit closer to time, for, people to sign up for that. The website has been coming along pretty well. I'm trying to get that completed before I go into the next fiscal year since I will be taking vacation. So I've got about halfway through, our about information page is completed. That includes like our business directory, civic organizations, education, outdoor recreation activities, and all that stuff. So I took pictures of everything, of all of our facilities and parks, and updated those. So at your leisure, scroll through there and see what you think. If you have any feedback, feel free to shoot me an email.
Thank you. Thank you. And by the way, I think Strawberry Festival was top notch. I think it was great. I know not everybody was able to make it out, but I think the vendors were happy. I think the shoppers were happy. But I think everybody had a really good time, despite the rain, which really didn't hurt anything, but it was just kind of, ooh, icky again. And thank you, law enforcement, for helping out. All right, police department.
So we've been, 20-some patients, 5 arrests, 18 reports, say the code enforcement, 4 accidents. We also have with the sheriff's department, getting a search warrant that originated out here. The arrest of 5 individuals. We've also been picking up some stuff from the MRO, the truck and the trailer, things. That's where we go.
Thank you. Thank you for informing all the constraints. All right, municipal court report.
And this is for the month of May, and this is a monthly fund markdown summary. $1,868.50, payments dispersed, $448.23 for litigation tax, $47.50 Department of Safety fines, $10.45 in municipal training, education fees, and $306 CSI fees, and then the net disbursement was $1,356.32.
All right.
We have, the tickets for the month of May was reckless driving, violation of proof of insurance, 1 stop sign ran, and 14 speeding tickets.
All right, thank you. All right, reporters report.
Yeah, I think Terry's has given us kind of an update on Springbrook, the brake replacement, and Ollie Wax is doing the paving there, so, that's where we replaced a basin and a grate and 80 feet of pipe.
We had, a piece of food,
Yeah.
one foot section of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be completed tomorrow, not paving because it's gonna settle out. But it's, if Dan Moore doesn't pave that at the top of the hill on the east side, you're gonna be like that where you're at, and there's nowhere to stop the gravel. And we'll fix what you all own,
Right.
but to extend up that road, but it's not gonna help what we've done, I mean, it's just gonna fill. it's just
Didn't
gonna
you
fill
say
it
that
back
the
in.
whole thing was done incorrectly to start with, the whole basin, pipes, all that? And it was done, before you?
It was done
Before
under
you.
Mr. Edmonds, I was working for him. It was done so much more to get a tractor trailer in his horse farm and like a circle and this. And I think he did that on his own. I'm not sure. I know we didn't do it to the highway. Because it's man-made, little catch basin.
So the pipes under the road, all that's been fixed to where it's
All
like.
concrete. Good Lord, take it out this time.
I have a sort of an update on Massachusetts. I sent you all emails about Jason Foster and his situation. And, it looks to me like he's covered up and basically doesn't have the drawings done that need to be done to do phase one of Massachusetts at this point. So that we could have a meeting before he went on vacation, but he really didn't respond back to have an update, actually have a meeting about it.
If I can comment on this, I've read this thing, I guess, 4 or 5 times. And I'm gonna be honest with the board, every time I read it, I get mad. We told the citizens of this town we were gonna do something when we were elected, and we're failing them. We are
When
failing
you
them.
say you get mad at reading, are you talking about his email?
Yes,
Okay.
I get mad every time I read it. We told the citizens we were going to do something. And we are failing our citizens. I thought we were gonna have something done early this spring. Nothing's happening. And he says it's gonna be early next year. I think we need to have a meeting and back up and hunt and take a serious look at what we can do to move faster on this project. Because I just don't think we're doing the right thing.
Well, I did ask him if we could meet before he went on vacation.
But-
He didn't respond back.
But,
And I think his vacation was sometime this coming up week, maybe.
yeah, you said,
First week of July or something.
yeah, right. But my point is, we're letting our citizens down by not going ahead and doing something. And we're just sitting here and we have no control over this project or anything they're doing, but yet it's our people down there that we're letting down. We need to meet and take a look and re-punt and see what we can do to progress faster on this. That's my 10 cents on it.
She requested a meeting. We didn't give a meeting. We can request another meeting. That's what we can do. This is county, TDEC, ARPA money. It's not money out of
Yeah,
our
that
pocket.
first part, the phase we're working on is phase one, and that's the county's, TDEC ARPA money. And we have a match of 10%.
Well, do we know how much the county or the money they're gonna put into this?
I heard from them, and correct me if I'm wrong, I was thinking 60,000 is what they thought this was gonna cost, the first part of it. And we would do a 10% match for that.
That was the one Bubba came and told us that did.
Yes.
I think it was 66 or 6, whatever it was, we paid the 10%.
Right.
Okay, but reading this, you know, TDEC's involved, Ernest and Young's involved, and the world's involved, and everybody that works on it is gonna get money. And I'm saying, why don't we do something? Let's just get together and decide to move forward and do something on this to help get it going. I think we need to do something.
May I say something? I don't mean to, but Simmons and Taylor's has got an issue with building up, plants. They've got new chemicals and new additives. And it ain't none of my business, I care less for them. He'll get big money if you all get grant to let his engineers come over and just drive that with the mayor or whoever, and vice mayor, and put their input into it. I mean, you had to pay $10,000 to come over, you may not even have to do nothing there. They may have materials that will bridge that. There's all kinds of different stuff that's come out in that.
Well,
I mean, that's just, I mean, you know.
we're already in the process of phase one. When we look at, and phase one was a very small section. Phase two is gonna be the length of the road. So we'll have opportunity then to bid that out. And maybe
May
those
save you some money.
new products may come into play.
It's pretty obvious that it's already set.
We've signed, we've already request another meeting.
Okay.
I mean, I think that's really all that we can do. And then at that meeting, get them down.
Do we know how much money TDEC is involved here? Do we know anything at all?
It's 66,
Well, that would be our part, the cost of our part, and then we do a 10% match. I don't know how much money they got from TDEC, because it's, like he said in his email, it's covering 4 different projects.
Well, right now, I had to look today, we've got like $1.7 million in the bank. And let's go ahead and have to use some of that money and fix that road down there, people. I mean, we're the ones responsible, at this table, we're responsible to get that done, and we're not doing it. That's just the way I feel about it.
Well, I feel the same way.
Request another meeting.
You know,
See what
it's-
we get.
The people that we're in with, I don't think they really care what we're doing, what the road's fixed. The people driving it, do. You know, and I mean, everybody's wiring their cars out.
We're gonna request another meeting and hold them accountable and have them explain to us.
That's okay. This is-
So have them request the meeting.
In the CDBG, which is, we're hoping to get the second phase. I talked with Janita King, and she told me that it would be probably another 3 months, whether we find out if we have been awarded the grant to do phase 2.
And Ken Ray told me the last time I saw him that our chances, he feels like we're in the 60-40. 60% 40, so a little better than that. Okay, just saying. All right, so we'll see what happens with us. Okay, continue.
Okay, so, for the roof for the cabin, I sent you all, 3 quotes. Davis Brothers is $14,971, Robert and Sons, $18,500, and Line Roofing's $26,460. So do you all feel like you need to maybe have a work session and take a look at those quotes and, then decide which direction to go?
I think a couple of those, I don't have it with me. A couple of them, or at least one of them didn't go into detail what kind of roof panels and thickness and all that stuff they were getting. I don't know if y'all, anybody else read that or not.
Was that Davis Brothers?
May have been, yeah, may have been.
And two, the one there didn't include lumber.
Right.
But he's a cheaper price, he's a bit under the price of the,
I believe that's
Lines
Davis,
is the most
that's
serious.
Davis Brothers.
And I know that the lab that they were going to use on that was $1,100. So that's one plus right there. That's one thing we can add to the quote that didn't include the lumber. That's one thing for sure. And then one thing about Roberts is they live here, right above the cabin. And by golly, if it ain't done right, I mean, we know where they're at, you know. I mean, what I'm saying, I know them, I trust them, you know what I'm saying? So, but I know for a fact that your lathing that he was gonna lab it with, that's gonna be $1,100. But,
Okay, so I'll schedule a work session and then we can get together and y'all can talk about it. And we could probably, y'all could vote at the next meeting if you want
I think that's what we need to do. It's just like Terry being here. I'm taking back the show. You know, if he don't tell us what's on his mind, it's just a guess. And then one other thing,
to. He tells me what's on his mind all the time.
I don't get to see him like you. I don't get to see him, I don't have to see him, one other thing. But one other thing I'd like to bring up for you, sorry, Kathy, well, okay?
No, go
Okay.
ahead. I'm like,
You know, we was talking about the 4th of July, and we were talking about from the road into the pavilion there, you know, where people can't take their little scooters and wheelchairs and stuff if they're handicapped. And we was talking about doing a little asphalt there, you know, from the road to the pavilion, and then the little handicap ramp off the end of the sidewalk there at the school. And I just thought that would be something that we could think about between now and the 4th of July. You know, that would be a pretty easy fix. And if the school lets do it, we got 2 guys that probably form that up and make a handicap ramp. If we could get Terry, you know, put some pavement in there.
Yes, sir.
I mean, it would work all year round, you know, because there's a lot of people use that. But I've had people tell me, some people get on that sidewalk up at the school parking lot and go down the sidewalk, and the sidewalk's that high, and they can't get off. And they come back, and then when they get down there to from the road to the pavilion, where it's just dirt, they can't get, I just thought,
Okay, no, maybe regarding that.
Did I say something? Take a second. I've been running things in town too. The traffic at Dove Meadows is worse and worse at these festivals. Everybody wants to come and park in my tenants' parking spaces. And across the front, everybody wants to take the pavement to sit, and the handicapped people want to line up on my pavement. I can't tell you how many times I've been cursed. Because these people are paying to live there. And they can't even go outside because of other people's there. I just wonder if there could be a little better coordination about how that traffic comes in and the people that don't know that ends there and there's no exit. They just go through the complex wandering around, have a space. Or I have to stand out there and monitor. Just think it ought to be a little better.
Well, that's your private property, right?
Yes.
So I don't think we can spare one of our officers to stand at that spot to divert traffic. So I don't know if there's signage or whatever, but that being private property, I don't think the town, I mean, we have a flow for traffic and we don't know who lives there and who doesn't. So it would be about impossible for us to stop every car and ask them if they live there.
I went today and picked up $190 for the signs that say the middle apartments working for tenants.
Okay, that will help.
Place them around, plus we try to hang out at the front. But the way the flow was this year, they were allowed to come to the entrance. And my people, I've got a man today, he lives in number 2, and he's like, what if I have an emergency? He has major heart problems, he's got defibrillators and all this stuff. He's had major surgeries. He said, how do I get in?
Well, I'm glad we have an ambulance right on site.
I told him all that, and he asked me, even if like it was today, what do I do? How do I get? Somebody told him about our annex, and I told him, I said, you still call 911, and I told him some partner adjectives to use when he called, to make sure they understand. He just don't think he's having a heart attack, he knows he is. And I think, I don't know how to handle it. I hate to have to stand out there and guard it.
Well, it's your private property, so that is going to be your responsibility. We can't spare one of our officers to stand there when we have them. We had to bring in extras this time to help cover, different intersections, so.
When I'm trying to tell people, please get your in and outs over with before this thing starts, but when it's a festival, it takes all day, that's kind of hard. So I'm working on it, but
Okay, I think the signs you said you purchased, I hopefully will help.
I just want y'all to know there are issues there. And first time I've ever said it.
I've heard it before. I don't know if it came from you, it came from you, somebody else to me, but.
I think we put up a fence for
Okay.
a day. Well, actually, 2 days a year, I make the fence, keep it clean, so just trying to keep my folks happy.
All right, continue.
We received a closing statement from the state of Tennessee Department of Transportation, and this is on the reimbursable expenses that we'll have due to the intersection and the parking in our parking lot, basically. You'll need to sign that tomorrow so we can send it back to you. And then we'll just assign that money and see after it's all over what we need to do to the parking lot. And it's $2,100. Plainsville Credit Union had the ATM machine installed at the south end of Town Hall. We're replacing the 2 windows at the south end of Town Hall. They're actually blotted through. I'll show them to one to and urban aluminum's replacing those, is about $1,500. Nick, do you want to talk about your, police building, what's going on over there?
We had, some money left over the budget, so we had, decided to do the, sheet rock, take out some walls. If anybody knows anything about the building, there's like 4 different walls, so we did get, creative creations, it's Jeff Audrey, Blue Mountain. We had 3 bids, I think there's one was 7,000, one was 12,500, one was 20,500. They started the work, it's looking really good. Shoot off before, thanks,
We're moving to the end of the fiscal year, and so we're doing, journal entries, and we'll be doing year-end entries, and, doing financials, and, the internal auditor will be in to audit all that, and that'll be probably in July, and in August, the external auditors will be there and be on site for probably at least about a week, start working on our audit.
Debbie, question, the men's restroom up at the trailhead doesn't have a mirror. Did you order that a long time ago for the guys?
The guys said that if they put a mirror out, they'll just keep getting better. I mean, if they're gonna pee in the heaters, they're gonna break the mirrors.
The only thing to do would be get a piece of polished stains,
Whatever, yeah.
What?
a piece of polished
They can
stains.
turn their phones on and look at themselves, they don't need a mirror.
Well, it just looks bad over town. The next thing, on your end, are you gonna have a inventory of everything inventory for your end? Everything in town's got?
I think, the only thing that we need to have inventory is, I think we have everything on the list, there might be some kitchen, equipment.
I mean, all the maintenance stuff they got, everything's inventory.
As far as I know, it's all on finished goods, and, I don't think that we've bought anything. This military equipment that we're getting is a grant, basically. They look at it as like a type of grant. And we have a list of that. And I don't think that the kitchen really purchased any equipment at all during the year. So our fixed assets are up to date.
And we got rid of that stuff that's in the, shed out behind the kitchen. Those ovens, those 2 ovens?
No, they're still in there,
Not yet.
they're still in there. I don't think they've been determined to be surplus at this point. Okay. Is that it for recorder's report? Thank you, Matt. Start your financial.
Okay, the general fund, we have $1,724,000, what I consider current. The ARPA money is drawing about 4.91% interest, so we're getting about $3,000 a month for interest. And then our certificate deposit is at 4.05, which will come due in December. I know I mentioned before about, after our last bank loan payment, with the money at Bank of Tennessee, I think that we should close that account after, I think the first payment would be in July, and then it would be over. And that probably needs to be closed out and moved up to another Commerce Bank, and probably make some more investments in CDs. I think they're predicting that the interest may go up a little bit more, the next time that they review that. And, our ARPA funds at this point are $715,385. And that's gonna be split between, the school, the uniform elementary renovation, $325,000, and then the rest would be infrastructure for Massachusetts. So, restricted funds for the, Snyder, is at $131,457. That's the money for the roof for the cabin that come out of that. The general fund revenue for the month of May, we were at, $179,354. And year to date, $1,741,341. And the expenses for the general fund for May were $128,665, and year-to-date, $1,500,937. So the net income for May was $50,689, and year-to-date, $240,404. And just taking a look at the year-to-date income, if you remember our revenue for that opioid money came in the year before, 102,000. So, but the expenditure for it is in this current year. So actually, if those had been in the same year, it would have been about 240,000 plus 102,000, which would have been about 342,000 in income to date. And we take a look at the kitchen for the month of May. The revenue for the rent was $2,473. Personnel expenditures were $656, and the overhead was $3,913. So for May, it was a $2,096 loss. Year-to-date, we're at $14,217, and I still think that the prediction for the year will be about $16,000 loss in the kitchen. Drug fund on the balance sheet, we have about $12,210 pending, and of that, $11,000 that was seized, we have been told that it is going to become the town's money, but we have to wait 60 days, I believe it was, after we got that letter, so in July, we'll recognize that money. And no activity on the drug fund. They're on the state share. We were at $40,461 for the month of May. Year to date, we're at $415,747. If you compare that to the previous year at $389,217, that's a $26,000, $530 increase. And if you compare to 2 years ago, it's actually a $78,394 increase in state share revenue. Local option for the month of May was $79,774. So if you look at year to date, where we are now at $836,191. Year to date, a year ago through May, was $913,523. So that's a loss of $77,332. Previous year, we were at $999,140 through May.
Thank you. Is there a motion and a second?
Motion to approve.
Motion? Second? Second. Motion and second. Is there any further discussion regarding the financial report as presented? Hearing none, Ms. Kessler, call for vote, please.
Alderman Lemon?
Yes.
Alderman McIntosh?
Yes.
Alderman Radford?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cooper?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes. Okay, announcements. The only thing the planning commission and all of our board members have received an email explaining that Ms. Kessler and I were invited to Johnson City to meet with Randy Tribbett and Steve Willis regarding the golf course. In previous years, the sale of the golf course property by Johnson City, I think their desire was to recoup over $2 million that they had put into that property. The total acres that Johnson City owns. I think Johnson City has discovered or determined at this point that if they retain possession of a large section, it's broken down into numbers of parts, and I can't remember what all the numbers of parts are. Anyway, a large section that runs along Unico Drive, where they've been removing dirt. You can see where they've been removing dirt. It'll be that section. And then also a section if you're on Unicoid Drive, this big section where they've been removing dirt, and then another section that goes a little more uphill, and there's a pond in there that feeds the stream that's in the lower section. That lower section is really nothing more than a floodplain, but that pond and that stream, and that layout will allow the city of Johnson City to recoup $2 million plus in stream bank credits, which is a process having to do with wetlands and TDEC and water and this, that, and the other. So they are going to retain possession of those, and then that allows the other 90 or so acres to be available for purchase. They shared that with us, wanting to give us first option on it if we thought it might be something we wanted to try to work with, or at least, offered it. Said they wanted us to know what the situation was, because it definitely has changed. In addition to that original entire golf course plat, the old hotel, the golf course, and those apartments all used a waste packaging pump system that's very old. And if anybody did much developing in there, or they owned that could be very costly to replace, put in any new lines, upgrade the system. And then retaining that property that contains that mechanism, they keep it, it's theirs. So that was a drawback from purchase, from a lot of perspectives for people that might want to develop that area. Nobody wants to move that old waste treatment packaging station. So the property that's available, I think a lot of people, and Amy's here, I think a lot of people could refer to it as the back of the golf course property.
That was one of the questions I had with Debbie. Is there a map shows?
There is,
What?
and all of our aldermen, our planning commission, and the other folks down at town hall, if anyone is available to go look at it, Johnson City gave us copies of a plat of that property. Now, it's old, it's not updated, but it is the basic structure of what the pieces are. They're numbered, their acreage is listed, and you can see which pieces would be included and which pieces they are going to retain. They are available at town hall for review. So they were open for anyone who would like to review those, to look at those. We haven't had any kind of work session related to it. We will bring it up again at the planning commission when we meet on July 3rd. We are also going to allow economic development to see if they'd be willing to come on board with us, try to come up with something, an RFP for something, get somebody in here that wants to develop it.
Is it thinking residential houses?
I think it just really depends on what seems more feasible, and, residential will help the county tax base. I don't think it necessarily helps the county in terms of sales tax, because they all go that way to shop. But, I think we need to keep our minds open. I don't know if traffic on those roads, how many houses it would be, if a development went in, there's a lot of discussion about outdoor recreation. It's maybe done something kind of unique, whatever. I think we need to just keep it very broad and see where some of the ideas go. But anyway, it's a new situation. It's a new situation that we have to face now. No price has been suggested, no offers or contracts, no nothing. Just, it's available. Do you think you have it? Okay, that's all it is. It was just a conversation. Okay, nothing set in stone, no commitments, nothing. You like to add anything? Was that a fair summation of what the conversation was?
So we only had a couple of people come in and look at the map.
So, it's down there, and anybody can come in and look, and then give any kind of feedback you'd like, okay? All right, so I just want to share that, and, Anybody else have any other sort of announcements? I don't think I have any announcements anymore.
Danny Coffee is
Oh, yeah.
retiring at the end of July.
Mhm. Do we have a date set for something for him?
July 28th.
There. And it'll be on lunch. July 28th lunch. For retirement. Okay.
I think Tony's frying fish.
Okay, I looked at Nick, but it was Tony that said he was frying fish, okay. All right, so lunch, okay. At 12, 11, okay. All right, got that, okay. Anything else? Anybody else? Anything else? Any announcements? No? All right, then, I guess we can entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Who was second?
Roger.
Roger.
Roger was second. What is that?
So you get here.
No, it feels good. That's like soft. A little texture, yeah, I like
I think that's just some things that are included